Imam al-Sajjad, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given my uncle Abbas a maqam such that on the day of judgment all the shuhada and the siddiqeen will wish they had the maqam of Abu-Fadhl. And the Imam did not leave an exception for anyone within the kawn. The exception that we know is Ahlulbayt through ahkam aqli.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Salam Alaikum and welcome to tonight's live show on Imam Hussain TV. Inspirational women. Why is it that so often and almost always we continue talking about men? Noah, Adam, Jacob, the Holy Prophet, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Surely we have neglected speaking about women. Last week we spoke about Fatimah salam alayhi salam. We've also touched on Khadija salam alayhi salam. And also we've previously mentioned Sayyidah Zainab salam alayhi salam. But also there are other figures. Another figure that we should also talk about. In Shia circles, she is known, but to millions across the globe, she is still unheard of. She is, of course, al-Baneen salam alayhi salam. Often, we have done injustice to women. We do not speak to them. Many non-Muslims also speak about we treating Muslim women unfairly and that there is injustice towards them. Let's look at this topic in detail tonight. With me, we have Dr. Ammar Nakshwani. Salam Alaikum, Dr. Ammar Nakshwani.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
It's a privilege once again to have
Thank you.
on.
It's my pleasure to be here.
This great lady, al-Baneen, salam alayhi salam. So rarely we speak about her apart from the shahadat, as it were. So we'll continue, as it were, talking about inspirational women. But first of all, Sayyidina, why should we study this great lady's life?
There are immense lessons to be learned from this great lady, and lessons which are all applicable into our lives today. There is an emotional attachment to the lady, as you could see around the world. Many have a great love for al-Baneen. But there are certain aspects of her life which are easily applicable as lessons for our life today. There are wives out there who can relate to al-Baneen if they study her biography.
Okay.
There are mothers out there who can relate to al-Baneen if they study her biography. If you want to know the meaning of sacrifice and the meaning of patience, and above all else, the meaning of absolute loyalty to the message of the religion of Islam and the family of the Prophet, peace be upon them, nobody exemplified this like al-Baneen.
Okay.
Because in the 60 years that she lived on this earth, the love that she showed towards the Quran and the Ahlulbayt is a lesson for all of us. That many of us who face difficulties in our life today, there is a lesson for all of us in terms of how to hold on to our beliefs, how to maintain a relationship with the family of the Prophet, peace be upon them. But I think also at the same time, there is a wonderful lesson for many in the world today who have struggled, having lost their children,
Right.
or lost their families because of war or other difficult moments. Because when you're looking around the world today, you see that there are many situations where there are people who've lost family members.
Sure.
And many find it difficult to recover. Those mothers who've lost sons find it difficult to recover. And so what you find as well in studying her life is a personality who went through absolutely everything. She was a mother, she was a wife, she was a widow, a mother who's lost sons, a mother who's lost family. And so many aspects of her life are lessons which I think we can definitely apply to ours.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that introduction. If I can just start off talking about this notable figure, when was she born, and what was happening in the Muslim community at in that period, as it were?
Yeah, she was born, according to my research, in the 4th year after Hijrah.
Right.
The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family at that stage had migrated to Medina from Mecca.
Okay.
And as we know, the calendar, when we're saying after Hijrah, is on the basis of that migration. And what you're having is this community that's being established in Medina.
Right.
And there are members of tribes, either from Mecca or outside of Mecca, who are slowly beginning to learn about the message of the religion of Islam by coming to Medina to come and visit the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. Now, for women at the time, he began to establish this reform process, which he had started in Mecca.
Okay.
In Mecca, you already had the call to speak out for the rights of women. When it came to, for example, the babies that were being buried alive, the female babies.
Yes.
When it came to inheritance, when it came to rights in marriage as well.
Right.
And so what you have at that time, by the 4th year after Hijrah until about the 9th year after Hijrah, many prominent Arab tribes are converting towards the religion of Islam.
Okay.
So even some of the most ardent polytheist tribes, the ones who were steeped in Jahiliyyah, were now coming towards the religion. You find the likes of, for example, Thaqif were affected by the call of someone like Urwa bin Mas'ud, the great-grandfather of Ali al-Akbar, and others who were slowly coming towards the religion, such as Bani Mustalaq, who previously were enemies.
Right.
So, but I would say, by the time that she's 5 years of age, a number of different delegations have come to Medina, visited the Prophet, and have become enamored by him.
Okay.
Her tribe was also a prominent tribe because, as we know, her name is Fatimah bint Huzam al-Kilabiyya.
Okay.
And the Kilabis were a prominent tribe in Arabian circles, and that is where the link comes between al-Baneen and Shimr bin al-Jawshan.
Right.
Because you know that many times in the majalis you hear there is a relationship between
yes.
Abu-Fadhl Abbas and Shimr, where he offers this sanctuary for,
if I'm not mistaken,
the brothers.
great uncle, as it were.
Well, no, I think too many people think the relationship is much closer. It's not that close.
Oh, okay.
You're going back ancestors.
But maternal.
Yeah, there is a relationship somewhere because of Banu Kilab.
Right.
So the Kilabis, many of them start coming towards the religion of Islam. And they are a tribe who are renowned for their warriors and so on. So in her early days, Islam is being established. It's the land of Medina. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, his family, is now ensuring that this nascent Muslim community is a community where everybody is living by the principles of the religion as much as they can.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So you've spoken about the tribes, as it were, and her notable tribal name, as it were. And also her real name being Fatimah, as it were. So her father names her Fatimah. Was this a common name in Arabia at that time?
Yeah, I think Fatima was a common name in Arabia.
Right.
If you look, for example, if I was to ask you, for example, let's turn the tables here. If I was to ask you, name me a Fatima who was living at the same time as al-Baneen, the obvious one would of course be who?
Fatima.
Fatima al-Zahra. Name me another Fatima who was a prominent lady in Islamic history, mother of one of the greatest personalities in the history of Islam. Right. Who would that be? Another Fatima. Imam Ali's mother.
Yes, Fatimah bint Asad. Of course.
Yeah? So,
yes.
so you've got Fatimah bint Zahra, who's alive at the time. Fatimah bint Asad, there's another Fatimah. Then you've got the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, his family has a cousin by the name of Fatimah.
Okay.
And I think on the night of Hijrah, if I'm not mistaken, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, when he sleeps in the bed of the Prophet on the night of Hijrah, he's asked by the Holy Prophet to ensure that the Fawatim are brought safely to Medina from Mecca.
Yes.
So it went to highlight to you that it wasn't just one being called Fatimah. So you got Fatimah bint Asad, Fatimah bint Zahra, Fatimah the daughter of Salama, if I'm not mistaken. Fatimah, if I'm not mistaken as well, Umar ibn al-Khattab had a sister by the name of Fatimah. Okay, so here you have another example. And then you've got Fatimah, the daughter of Hizam al-Kilabiyya.
Okay.
So all of this highlighted that Fatimah was a common name at the time.
Okay, thank you. So when Fatimah Zahra, Salam Alaikum, dies, we find that there's a huge gaping gap, as it were, in the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And what exactly happens? What does he do in terms of marriage, as it were, going forward?
It's very difficult, and I think that's why Ahlulbayt alayhim salam, their lives, many of us can relate to. And when I say that, I mean every aspect of their life is something that anyone can relate to wherever you're living in the world. There may be, for example, now a father who's watching this program who lost his wife because of, let's say, cancer.
Right.
And his wife, for example, and him, they had between them 4 kids. Who can that person relate to? And one of the people you can relate to is Imam Ali alayhi salam. Yes. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam passes away, he's the father of a few orphans.
Yes.
And these orphans aren't older than 8.
Right.
And I've heard many people always say this line that, how can we relate to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? They lived at one time, we live in another. Ahlul Bayt, the trials they went through are trials which we can relate to. You know, when you lose your wife, it's not easy.
No.
You can't turn around and say, Imam Ali, well, he's Imam Ali, so he's not going to be affected. You see from the sadness.
Absolutely.
You know, a flower came from heaven, went to heaven, left its fragrance in my mind. He loved Fatimah al-Zahra. Yes. But when Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam died, then Imam Ali alayhi salam wanted to get married.
Okay.
And she had requested him to get married.
I see.
Before she died, she requested.
Okay.
She had a niece by the name of Amama, and she said, I want you to marry my niece. Her niece is very close. And you know, many say that this niece was, you know, possibly a step niece, one of the stepsisters of Fatima, her daughter. Irrespective, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, she wants Imam Ali alayhi salam to marry her niece, so he marries her.
Okay.
Then Imam Ali alayhi salam marries Asma bint Umays.
Right.
Asma bint Umays originally was married to Ja'far al-Tayyar, the brother of Imam Ali alayhi salam, who inshallah soon we're going to have a show on Ja'far al-Tayyar. Now Imam Ali alayhi salam's brother Ja'far died in the battle of Mu'tah.
Yes.
A couple of years before the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family died. When Ja'far died, Asma bint Umays married Abu Bakr.
Okay.
And she had a son from Abu Bakr by the name of Muhammad.
Yeah.
Who later on would be amongst the closest companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Yes, he adopted him, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Muhammad and Asma remains alive, married to Abu Bakr until Abu Bakr passes away a few years into his caliphate.
Right.
Imam Ali alayhi salam marries Asma. Asma, as you know, was very close to Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam. So Imam Ali marries Asma. And then after Asma, you have another marriage which has to be mentioned. And that is the marriage to Khawla bint Ja'far.
Right.
Khawla bin Ja'far gave him the son by the name of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Okay. So Imam Ali alayhi salam is married Amama, he's married Asma, he's married Khawla, And then after these, he marries Fatima, the daughter of Huzam al-Kilabiyya.
Okay.
And this Fatima, no doubt, the way he marries her, his brother Aqil deserves a lot of credit.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So you mentioned Aqil now. So just in terms of Aqil and his brother, and a link now, as it were. So the voice of human justice, I mean, Imam Ali alayhi salam, what exactly was he seeking in this marriage?
It's interesting.
Because he's had notable figures that he's married before, and, you know, this is his fourth marriage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, historians differ on the exact order, but,
Right, okay.
but definitely you're right. What's he looking for? I think the first thing that's interesting about this is, why does Imam Ali alayhi salam have to ask Aqil?
Yeah.
Because, you know, in Shia belief, Imam Ali alayhi salam is this person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may inspire with knowledge of that which is not known, knowledge of the unseen.
Yeah, sure.
He is the gate to the city of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Which is the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family.
Yes.
So why would Imam Ali alayhi salam ask Aqil?
Is it because he was older?
One angle,
Out of
one may
respect.
argue, out of respect, that's his older brother. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam had three elder brothers. Talib, Aqil, and Ja'far.
Right.
So one may argue, one angle is that he wanted to ask the advice of his elder brother. But the reality of the whole story is that Aqil was a person renowned for his knowledge of genealogies.
Subhanallah.
The Arabs used to pride themselves on who used to know the nasab and the ansab.
Okay, okay.
And until today, many of us will say, you know, what's your nasab? Where are you from? Which Sadat are you from? Which group are you from? Which city are you from? Which village are you from? Some people will not marry except if they know, you know, the nasab and the hasab and the back and the forth. And I think that's exactly what happens in this particular incident, because Imam Ali alayhi salam knows that his brother Aqil is a master of genealogy.
Right.
There is maybe a hagiographical story where they say that Aqil, one day, Muawiyah made a big dinner and a, you know, quite lavish event, feast for Aqil.
Okay.
Now, how Aqil got to Syria, was Aqil blind, how old was he? I leave this for another discussion where we look at the sources.
Yeah.
But let's just go with the story that Aqil and Muawiyah supposedly are having this discussion. And Muawiyah knows very well that Aqil is not just the brother of Imam Ali, but Aqil is the master of the ansab, master of the genealogies.
So really, his fame was well known.
Well known.
Not just in the family.
Yeah, it was well known. And so what happens is that Muawiyah asks Aqil. There are a number of people who are sitting around, and Muawiyah asks Aqil, you're the master of the ansab. Tell me about Amr ibn al-As's nasab. What's the family tree of Amr ibn al-As? And Aqil made it clear that if you want to know about the genealogy of Amr ibn al-As, 6 different people claimed they were his father. Clearly, in the days of Jahiliyyah, Amr ibn al-As had a job where many men were welcome on an hourly basis. And then, of course, I always mention that إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرِ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرِ. Shani is your most severe enemy, someone who has amount of hate for you. Abtar is when you have no continuation of your line. If an animal's tail was cut off, they'd call it Abtar. Al-As bin Wa'il used to be the one who used to make fun of the Prophet when his baby son dies, saying that your line's cut off. The Quran said, no. Your most severe enemy, his line is the one that is cut. Meaning that Al-As was not the real dad of Amr. So when Aqil therefore said that 6 different people claimed they were the father, Muawiyah then asked, well, how did you find out who the father was? And they said, well, 6 different names. We picked a name out. Whichever name was shown on the paper, we said that that's his name. So he was called Amr ibn al-As. Now then Muawiyah says, how about my family tree? And the reply comes that if you want to ask about your family tree, go ask Arabia what your grandma's job was, then you'll know your family tree. Now, Muawiyah is not someone who just takes something like that lightly, because Aqil just ripped his grandma. He's made it clear to him that, you know what, your grandma had a particular profession, you could find out what your nasab is from there. Muawiyah turned around to Aqil and he said to him, Aqil, how's your uncle Abu Lahab? Is he still burning in hell?
I see.
Because of course, Aqil's dad is Abu Talib. Who's Abu Talib's brother?
Abu
Lahab.
Of course.
Muawiyah got Aqil back, but then Aqil replied to him, he's in hell next to your auntie Jamil. Because who was Abu Lahab's wife? Abu Sufyan's sister. Muawiyah's aunt. So what you have here is this interesting confrontation that occurs, but the main discussion in this whole confrontation is that Aqil is a master of the genealogies. Okay?
He's gifted. Yeah.
So Imam Ali alayhi salam, when wanting to get married, Aqil used to lay out a small mat in the mosque of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, his family in Medina. And people would come and see Aqil and they'd ask him questions about genealogies. And so Imam Ali alayhi salam comes and asks his brother, I want you to find me a lady from whose line there are the most brave and valiant of warriors. That's the criteria.
I see.
Now, does that mean that Imam Ali is not looking for akhlaq? Imam Ali is not for... No, that's a given. When Imam Ali alayhi salam tells you, I want to marry somebody, you don't then turn around and say, but you mentioned bravery, you didn't mention religion. No, you know that Imam Ali alayhi salam, religion, akhlaq, these are all fundamental. But the Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I want a special trait. Find me a lady whose dad's dad are ferocious warriors. That if I'm going to have sons from this lady, these sons are going to be full of valor, full of bravery, but with a real, and this is the fundamental word, chivalry.
Right.
In Arabic, we talk of futuwa. La fata illa Ali, wala sayfun illa dhul fiqar. Futuwa is not, sometimes people translate this as there is no youth but Ali.
That's right, in English.
And that there is no sword but dhul fiqar. No, there is no chivalrous.
Right. It's the weakness of English in the translation.
Chivalry. A composite of virtues found in one personality from their teens, possibly till the age of 40. Just, forgiving, generous, brave. This is what we're looking for. And this futuwa existed in many different schools in Islam. Would talk of futuwa. Some would learn swordsman skills. Some would learn ancient martial arts and samurai skills, but while maintaining a discipline of food and patience and so on. It's as if that chivalry, that futuwa, is what many want to come back. And I'll give you an example of what futuwa could mean in today's society.
Yeah, sure.
You're on a bus. You're sitting and there's a lady standing. Futuwa is when a person says, please you sit down, I'll stand up. You're about to enter a restaurant and your missus is with you. Some will just open the door, go straight in. Some will say, no, ladies first. That's chivalry. Chivalry is not just a person who's skilled with the sword. But rather, chivalry is also somebody who at times their heart is soft. At times they are swordsman-like. At times they are noble, generous. They're altruistic, all in one personality. And so Imam Ali alayhi salam asks Aqil. Aqil tells him, I'll get back to you in a month. Or give me a month. You give me a month and I'm going to get back to you. Now, it's interesting the connotations regarding matchmaking today. Because I believe that in our communities, matchmaking is very undervalued. And I believe that we should focus greatly on matchmaking. Because there are so many wonderful brothers and sisters out there, but they're not getting the chance to meet each other. And we need to develop innovative methods. And I know sometimes people come to me with different methods which have been innovated regarding matchmaking, and I find people mocking these methods. I don't see a reason why they should be mocked. So for example, there's people out there who are talking about, let's say, speed dating. You know, you go to these events, if you talk to somebody for like a minute and then you move on and you mention, well, I like that person. So I think more of these events are needed.
Yes.
I do believe that our mosques should also open up a little bit in allowing the brothers and sisters to get to know each other better. But what's interesting is that Imam Ali alayhi salam highlighted there is a great reward in the person who brings two people together. I don't know what your experiences are, you know, of the matchmaking world.
Yes.
But I believe that, you know,
Well,
it's something we should give a lot more support for our community.
I think usually it's just by word of mouth introduction. Well, I know so and that's it really. But there isn't anything more than that. So I think you're quite right that there is a lack of vision and a lack of dialogue required, and also people, you know, are sort of still in that mode that, well, it's not right, as it were, but you know, you've got to move in a halal way, as it were, that where we can actually exercise, you know, meetings in terms of compatibility. You're right, and that's not clearly happening at the moment. So hopefully, inshallah, that will change going forward. Inshallah, with this. Okay, thank you so much for that. So we've spoken about matchmaking and how we can actually learn from this, and you've given wonderful insight, I must say, in terms of his brother Aqil. So from the marriage, the matrimony of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and al-Baneen salam alayhi salam, it's interesting. They have 4 sons, if I'm not mistaken. And what are exactly the names of the 4 sons, and you know, what do they represent, as it were? You know, what happens, as it were?
Well, what happens is that Aqil gets back to Imam Ali alayhi salam and he says to him that I found you a lady by the name of Fatimah al-Kilabiyya. And he begins to tell him the names of her family members. And the reason he tells Imam Ali alayhi salam the names of the people in her ansab, in her nasab, is because he wants Imam Ali to tell him, yes, this is the people who I know will ensure that these traits have continued, or that the sons that I have in the future will be sons who will have those traits. So Aqil tells him, well, do you know Amr bin Sa'sa'a? And Imam Ali says, of course, one of the bravest warriors in Arabian history.
Right.
He says to him, do you know also one of her ancestors is Mula'ab al-Asinna? He says to him, yes, of course. So Aqil begins to list the people in the family tree of al-Baneen, and Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he hears these names, he recognizes that these are the names that will definitely mean I'll have some brave sons.
Right.
And you know, when she gets married, you know, her father accepts the proposal straight away.
Okay.
He is absolutely in honor of the fact, you know, he's elated that Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is the one who's come to propose for my daughter.
Yeah.
And the daughter from the very beginning made it clear, I have not come into this house to be a burden on Hassan and Hussain, Zainab and Kulthum. On the contrary, I am a servant to them, for they are the grandchildren of the Prophet, peace be upon his family. You know, it can be quite intimidating for somebody,
of course,
to go into a house where you have, you know, you're already seen as the stepmom, and then on top of that, you've got the kids there as well, and they're at a young age, and they've, you know, been through a traumatic experience in their young age. But what you find is that she walks in, and from the very beginning, for her it's an honor.
Right.
And then Imam Ali alayhi salam, you know, he treats her in the best of ways. She has a real closeness to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Remember, Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he marries her, still in his 30s.
Okay.
You know, you're not talking somebody who's in his 50s. He's still in the prime of his life. And he marries her, and they have these 4 sons.
Right.
Abbas, Ja'far, Abdullah, and Uthman. Sometimes I've seen in historical narrations, and sometimes it's difficult to reconstruct the biographies of these great personalities, because scarce material out there, and you really have to work your socks off to try and find names and dates and so on, especially with the anti-Umayyad, the Talibid propaganda that existed from the Umayyads and the Abbasids.
Yes.
But what you have is that you've got Abbas and Abdullah, Uthman and Ja'far, and each one, their name has a different meaning. And I think this is something very important.
Okay.
Because I have heard some absurd names in our communities recently. Absurd in the sense that either someone's just gone on Google and typed cool name and has just come out with the most absurd name, but just because he'll fit into society,
right,
or his wife will fit into her friend circle.
Or chic, according to them.
Chic, or even it's just like,
according
well,
to them,
it has some Islamic connotation.
Right.
And the Islamic connotation is some, crazy sect that existed in the 12th century, or one of the fighters against Imam al-Hussain at Karbala. But anyway, so when you look at the Ahlulbayt, Abbas is a name that is important to them. Ja'far is a name that's important to them. Abbas, he names him Abbas. He wants him to have this particular insight and foresight, where he is able to pierce through the lines of the enemy just by looking at them.
Yes.
There's a frown, but a frown of a man of dignity and honor. So they have these sons, and you find that there is this wonderful marriage that takes place in a very turbulent period, mind you, because Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he becomes Khalifa, he has to move from Medina to Kufa, and al-Baneen goes with him. And sometimes for some ladies in marriages, having to travel from one place to another, it can really, take its toll on the marriage. But you never ever find al-Baneen ever complaining to Imam Ali alayhi salam that, look, I've been raised in Medina for the last 25, 30 years of my life, you're taking me to Kufa. No, on the contrary, they're there, Abbas, Ja'far, Abdullah and Uthman.
Okay, and approximately, we'll just extend the theme of the names, as it were, in a moment or two. But what were the ages of the four sons, as it were, when they migrated to? Were they very young? Were they?
They're all young. They're all young.
Just for the viewers, how much younger were they than Hussain alayhi salam and Bibi Zainab salam alayhi salam?
They were at least, I would say, they were at least 20 years younger.
Yeah. So
at least 20 years younger.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you mentioned the names.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to a break in the next few minutes. But just to continue this theme of names.
Because for Zainab, Abbas is like her younger brother.
Yeah, right.
That feeling of having a younger brother.
Yes.
There's between Zainab and Abu-Fadhl Abbas, there's at least a 22-year age gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've mentioned that these four sons, as it were, some actually people doubt, or some people, there's traditions about Uthman alayhi salam as one of the sons. What can you mention about that, as it were?
Well, I think
because sometimes this comes up.
Yeah, I think history books show that Imam Ali had a son by the name of Uthman. Some narrations mention that Imam Ali had a son by the name of Ammar.
Right.
And there were great personalities who were called Uthman, who were called Ammar, such as Uthman bin Mad'un, such as Umar bin Muqrin.
Right.
And nobody has a freehold on any name, probably except Allah and His Prophet.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We'll just continue the show in the next moment or two. But viewers, please do join us this Thursday. This Thursday is the 21st of February. There will be a special program this Thursday aired live. And the topic of the show will be I Am Hussaini. What exactly does it mean to be Hussaini? Are we doing justice to the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam? How can we finance initiatives and projects and so on and so forth? We'll have special guests on Thursday, Friday and also Saturday. And we'll be taking live calls. So it will be a fascinating insight in terms of new material, and also give you an opportunity to voice your questions, speak to guests, as it were, telephone in as well, and more. So please do join us on Thursday as well, inshallah, 8 p.m. That's 21st of February, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Sayyidina, we're just going to be going to a break in the next few minutes. But just in terms of if her name, and we might need to revisit this just after the break, if her name is Fatimah, then why do we refer to her as al-Baneen? If you can probably perhaps shed some light on that.
Sure, the narrations, and it's always sad when you hear this, but the narrations mention that she requests for a name change.
As soon as she marries Imam Ali al-Islam.
Why? Whenever he calls her Fatima, there's a sadness enveloped on the faces of Fatima al-Zahra's children. Because they, at that moment, remember the oppression and the torture and the injustice that was meted out against their mother.
Okay, we'll say now we'll just have to come back to that.
Yes.
We're going for a short break. Viewers, do join us again for this fascinating topic today on inspirational women. See you in a moment or two.
Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlulbayt, peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussain TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussain Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussain, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussain3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussain.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.
All projects start with a concept, start with a vision.
We all have a destination to reach, but the journey isn't always easy.
Throughout life, there have been many trials and tribulations, many difficulties, setbacks, and unforeseen circumstances, but still we managed to push through them.
When we came to the West, there was no mosque, so we went around the community asking for people to donate to help establish a center.
When we came to the West, there were no scholars, so we sent our children to learn the Islamic sciences.
Imagine if we never took initiative. Imagine if what we have established was taken away.
Join us for our hashtag I Am Hussaini live shows where we'll be discussing community, progression, and how to even finance these initiatives.
We tried our best to bring the heavenly atmosphere of Karbala to your houses, but nothing great was achieved without sacrifice.
People worldwide.
Salam Alaikum and welcome back to tonight's live show on Imam Hussain TV. The theme tonight is inspirational women, and we're looking at the personality of al-Baneen, Salam Alaikum. Viewers, do call in to pose your questions to Dr. Sayyid Ammar Nakshwani. The telephone number for WhatsApp is 07939 917 163. Once again, 07939 917 163. Alternatively, you can also call in on a landline 0203 515 0199. Sayyidina, Assalamu Alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
We just prior to the break, you were touching on the name of Fatimah and why we actually refer to her as al-Baneen. So if we can probably just go back to that point.
Yeah, as I mentioned, she is the one who altruistically, it really is an unbelievable moment, in my opinion, in her life. Because you've been given this name Fatimah by your parents. It's a great name. But you notice that there's a sadness etched on the face of the orphans known as Hassan and Hussain.
Yes.
Zainab and Kulthum. And therefore she tells Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, change my name. Why? Because whenever you mention Fatimah, this brings pain on the young ones. Now, a couple of important points. Firstly, Ahlulbayt alayhi salam are so hurt by what happened to their mother Fatimah. It couldn't have just been a natural death because of sadness or depression. When al-Baneen sees that the grandchildren of the Prophet, peace be upon his family, are distraught when they hear the name Fatimah. Second lesson is that Ahlulbayt always come ahead of our interests. There are many moments where we have to ask ourselves a question. I want to do something, but would Ahlulbayt be pleased?
Yeah, yes.
Because their pleasure is ultimately the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
True. No doubt.
What she does at that moment is says, even though my name Fatimah is so important for me, if it brings less sadness to the family of the Prophet that I have another name, then so be it, let me have another name. Does she take another name on? Imam Ali alayhi salam picks for her al-Baneen.
Okay.
Al-Baneen means literally the mother of the sons.
I see.
You've got these sons, Abbas and his brothers, and therefore this will be your title. And subhanallah, until today, when you talk of Fatimah, you talk of Fatimah al-Zahra. When you talk of al-Baneen, she has her own place.
Subhanallah.
There is no way whatsoever that al-Baneen could have envisaged all those years back that people would admire her because of the name that Imam Ali alayhi salam gives her.
Okay.
Because of the name that she herself says I want my name changed. So in this one incident of the name change, we see the meaning of not just what Fatimah al-Zahra's martyrdom, its effect on the family of the Prophet, but also how placing Ahlul Bayt's interest and happiness. And that's why in ziyarah we always say, Bi abi anta wa ummi. May my mother and my father, may my father and my mother be sacrificed for you. Inni silmun liman salamakum, wa harbun liman harabakum, wa waliyun liman walakum, wa aduwun liman adakum. When we say I'm at peace with whoever you are at peace with, I'm at war with whoever you're at war with.
MashaAllah.
I take as a guardian those who you ask me to take as a guardian. I'm an enemy of those who you saw as enemies. This is when a person takes Ahlul Bayt ahead of themselves. And that one incident highlights this.
SubhanAllah. Thank you so much, Sayyidina. So now we have questions. Salam, in what year did Bibi al-Baneen alayhi salam die? Was it a natural death or was she martyred?
She dies in the 64th year after Hijrah, and I will come to it towards the end of the show when we discuss her natural death.
Okay. What was the age of Mawla Hassan and Hussain when Fatimah Zahra salam was attacked?
8 and 7.
Right. Okay, so those two questions have been answered now. Just moving on swiftly because we've got, I think, just 25 minutes, Sayyidina, viewers. So if you can call in, please do call in quickly because we only have about 20-25 minutes for tonight's show. You've very eloquently, I must say, mentioned the sacrifice, almost as it were, she's let her ego go, made sure that, her name isn't mentioned, as it were. But in terms of Imam Ali's last moments now, and in his last moments, he ensures that the pledge is made, the passing on, as it were, of imamate is made to Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And what exactly happens to Abbas, Abu-Fadhl Abbas alayhi salam, as it were, at that time? In terms of what is his state? What is al-Baneen worried about him? What happens, as it were, when everyone's asked to give your pledge, give your allegiance, give your bay'ah, as it were, to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, and the continuation? Then what happens then?
Imam Ali alayhi salam dies in the 40th year after Hijrah, at the age of 57. And what you find with Imam Ali alayhi salam is that when he passes away, at the age of 63, when he passes away, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he leaves a will behind to his sons.
Right.
And that will was for them to all pledge allegiance. To who? To Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Because Imam al-Hassan is the Imam after Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Naturally.
And there is this narration that he asks Imam al-Hussein, come pledge allegiance to Imam al-Hassan, asks his other sons who are alive at the time, let's say Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah and others, and al-Baneen comes and asks him, you asked everybody, you requested them that they all come and pledge their allegiance to Imam Hassan, how about my Abbas?
Yeah, this is quite a poignant point in history. Why? Why so? Because
it's as if there's this message being given that Abbas and Hussein, your relationship is unique. Now this doesn't negate that Abu-Fadhl Abbas alayhi salam will be the most loyal to Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. We know when Imam al-Hassan died, nobody was hurt as much as Abu-Fadhl next to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And Abu-Fadhl was angered by those who attacked the janazah, the funeral of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. However, Imam Amir al-Mu'min tells Abu-Fadhl, your pledge is to also look after Imam al-Hussein. There'll be a day you remain loyal to him. That is the day you were created for.
Subhanallah.
And no doubt,
And
when
he
we
knew
come
that
to
as
that
well.
day, when we come to that day, there is no loyalty like Abu-Fadhl.
Yeah. Okay. So, just now moving on swiftly, Abu-Fadhl Abbas al-Islam, he gets married. So what I want to know, and I'm sure most viewers probably do not know this actually, but who actually does he get married to, and what role does al-Baneen Salam Alaikum have, as it were, in making that choice, if any?
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember when I gave my lecture on the life of the wife of Abu-Fadhl Abbas alayhi salam a few years ago. And the lecture can be found online on Lubaba, the wife of Abbas. Many said to me they did not know until that day what the name was of Abu-Fadhl Abbas's wife. She was from the Abbasid line, from the line of Abbas, the uncle of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon his family. And she had a really traumatic experience at a young age, because her brothers were beheaded by Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan's governor, Basr bin Arta. And she, even though seeing her brothers beheaded, her iman remained very strong. And this affected al-Baneen. al-Baneen saw her and thought, you know, it's not easy for a young girl to see her brothers beheaded, but for her to see her brothers beheaded and to remain strong, not affected seemingly, this would make a great wife for Abu-Fadhl. And she was like, you know, his second cousin and so on.
Okay, so they were cousins.
They were cousins, yes. And so al-Baneen is extremely happy, but she wants approval from Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. It's as if, Abbas, you cannot do anything unless your brother Hussein gives the green light. Now, Abu Abdullah is not that type of person who's going to stand with a gun saying, if I do not give you a green light, you cannot move on.
Yeah.
But it was that respect that has existed.
Sure.
And so they ask Imam al-Hussein, Lubaba, the daughter of Ubaydullah ibn al-Abbas, what's your opinion? And Imam al-Hussein approves, and they get married. Yes, it's
so they're second cousins.
Yeah.
So just in terms of that, if we just extend that to today in this modern era, there's no problem, as it were, cousins getting married, as it were.
In Islamic law, there's no issue with cousins getting married, or second cousins getting married. You know, Imam Ali alayhi salam married Fatimah al-Zahra, and she was his second cousin.
Sure.
And, you know, Abu-Fadhl Abbas marries Lubaba, and she was his second cousin. However, of course, if a person is given medical advice that there has been a continuous stream of cousin marriages, which could result in something fatal or something difficult to handle, then they should take the medical advice.
And in terms of the relationship now, and this is quite key as well, because we've spoken previously about divorces, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. What was the relationship like? And because viewers actually should take something away from this show, as it were, and also from this great personality of al-Baneen Salam Alaikum. What was the relationship, the mother-in-law and also, you know, the daughter-in-law relationship?
Yeah, al-Baneen.
We should take this.
Sure. I think, you know, I hear some really bad examples about how some father and mother-in-laws treat their daughter-in-law. Recently, I heard a case where I was told that there is a father and a mother-in-law. They expect their daughter-in-law to live at home with them. And if the daughter-in-law doesn't live at home with them, meaning that she tells her husband, let's live somewhere else, they'll cause trouble for the daughter-in-law and for their own son.
Yes.
I heard a story once of a mother-in-law who expected that when she would wake up, her daughter should be awake to make her breakfast.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of unbelievable torture on daughter-in-laws, where they are expected to act like slaves. And this, by the way, is from religious families, not non-religious families. So-called religious families who've got Maulanas in their families treat their daughter-in-laws in some of the worst ways. And you'd expect a family that has, you know, people who are, you know, learned in the faith to be people of respect, but you find even the ones who look religious can treat their wife in a way where they'll tell her that, listen, you are the slave of my parents. Believe you me, don't let the appearance fool you. Sometimes the ones who look the most religious are the ones who met out the most oppression against their families.
Yeah.
And so what you find is that al-Baneen is extremely soft-hearted.
Right.
When you have a son like Abbas, who has the softest heart, as displayed in the heroics of the 10th of Muharram, where he could not bear to drink water while his brother, his master, his niece, his sister were thirsty, then what do you think of the mother of Abbas? She was an extremely soft-hearted lady. There is not a single narration in any books, both the books that praise Ahlulbayt, the books that try and find problems with the legacy of Ahlulbayt, not a single narration that she ever raised her voice against her daughter-in-law, that she ever forced her to be awake at times of the night just to be a slave to her father-in-law. This is the lessons that we need to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I hear that there are parts of India and Pakistan where daughter-in-laws are literally slaves. They haven't got married. They've just become a slave with the title married. This is something extremely sad and far away from the ethos set by al-Baneen.
Okay, so now we have a question. Salam, quick question for clarity. Did Imam Ali alayhi salam give al-Baneen salam alayhi salam that title early on in the marriage? Basically, and also that it's mentioned that she had sons, but this person thought that it was given to her early in the marriage, as she didn't want Sayyidah Fatimah to grief, or the children to feel grief early on. So was it just on the onset?
I think there's an argument for both. Okay. I've never ever come across a date which says, for example, on June the 27th, 38 AH, that was that day. I've never come across anything like that. But I think it works both ways.
Yes.
It makes sense that it's early, because obviously being called Fatima in front of these young kids, and it's causing them pain. And the fact that they are now moving on in their lives. So I think it must have been extremely early when this was given. And Ahlulbayt can give you a title, the mother of sons, knowing what could happen in the future.
Okay, so we had another question, and this question has been answered, but I'll just read it out because Dr. Sayyid Ammar Nakshwani has already answered this question. That how many sons did al-Baneen salam alayhi salam have? And also, how was she introduced, as it were, to him? So that's also been answered on today's show as well. So I do urge you to watch the rerun, as it were, on YouTube, Imam Hussain TV channel. But the other part of the question is interesting, in that which sons were present or martyred in Karbala. So I'm not sure if you want to answer it now or later on, or how you want to...
No, now all 4 sons were present, and all 4 died as martyrs on the 10th of Muharram.
Okay, fine. So we've just have about 10, 12 minutes left. Just moving on. So you've mentioned also, the relationship that she had, as it were, with her daughter-in-law, and how she treated her, as it were. What are the narrations, as it were? What does history tell us about her? Was she present in Karbala? And if not, why not, as it were? There's
a few personalities who were not present at Karbala. Some reasons we know, some we don't.
Okay.
Why Kumail was not at Karbala, we don't know.
And yet he was alive at that.
He was alive. Why Qambar was not at Karbala, we don't know.
Okay.
Why, for example, Ibn Abbas or Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, Abdullah bin Ja'far, some speculate about eyesight, illness, old age. Right. There are differences of opinion. Al-Baneen, it seems there's an order given from the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam that she remains behind, and that she does look after, for example, Abu-Fadhl Abbas's young son by the name of Fadl. She is the grandmother who looks after.
Okay, and just about half a dozen questions left now, Sayyidina. So it's natural for any mother to be waiting, as it were, from a different land, okay, or a different part of the world geographically, that the sons are fighting in Karbala, what impact could this have had on her? And you know, it must have been hard for her waiting, as it were, being patient.
God only knows. God only knows how difficult it is. You know, if a mother sent her son or daughter to college, she's anxiously waiting when they've turned up 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they haven't turned up late. Imagine over a month and not hearing news, or hearing news but not being able to verify from someone like Zainab alayhi salam, because it's over a month until they return back from Karbala.
Yeah.
And she can only be so strong. It must have been difficult. But one thing interesting about her, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is more important to her and his survival than even her own sons.
Yes, yes.
Remember, Ahlulbayt first.
First and foremost.
May my sons be sacrificed for the family of the Prophet. And that's a slogan for all of our lives.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So, there's a person by the name of Bishr bin Hathlam, I believe. I hope I've pronounced that correct. And he brings back the news, the really sad news, as it were, to al-Baneen, Salam Alaikum, when she's residing, as it were, in Medina. How does she react when she knows and hears about her 4 sons have been slain?
Yeah, Bishr bin Hathlam brings the news to Medina. She is narrated to have held Abu-Fadhl Abbas' son. She's holding him, and she then asks.
This is Fadl himself.
Yeah. She asks, is there news from Karbala? What's happening? And he asked, who is it? They said, don't you know who that is? That's al-Baneen. The moment he hears that's al-Baneen, he says, may Allah give you reward for the death of your son Abdullah. You'd think a mother at this moment would break down, that would be it.
Absolutely.
She says, tell me about Aba Abdullah. May Allah give you reward over the death of your son Uthman. She says, tell me about Hussain. May Allah reward you over the death of your son Ja'far. Tell me about the son of Fatimah al-Zahra. But of course, the next line breaks her. May Allah give you patience and reward you over the death of your son Abbas. She drops the child because Abbas was everything to her.
Yeah.
Abbas was her life. But so was Hussain.
Of course.
And Hussein's her Imam.
Yes.
And so she gathers herself. Tell me about Abu Abdullah. You will never, ever see devotion and loyalty, because that's the recipe of success, to the family of the Prophet, peace be upon them, like al-Baneen alayhi salam. The first thing she wants to do is look for Zainab, because she knows that A, Zainab never traveled except with Hussain on one side and Abbas on the other. B, Zainab's going to need a backbone for her now, in the way Hussain was a backbone, Abbas was a backbone for Imam Hussain alayhi salam.
Yes.
And Sayyidah Zainab is narrated to have told Sayyidah Fidda,
okay,
or Bibi Fidda, that don't let anyone in the house. But then when Bibi Fidda hears the knocking on the door, she turns around and she says, Sayyidah, it's al-Baneen. It's this moment, if you put this into a film, Zainab seeing al-Baneen seeing Zainab, and Zainab calling out, Wa Abbasa, oh Abbas. And al-Baneen calling out, Wa Hussaina. And this incident breaks her heart, and it's very difficult for her to recover, because not only has she lost her beloved boys, but she's lost the person who she admired more than all, and that was Hussain. This is very difficult for a few years after Karbala.
Great lessons of sacrifice and obedience, as it were, and servanthood. We've just got about 6 or 7 minutes here now, so we're just going to wrap up in the next 3-4 with the next 3-4 questions. We often commemorate majalis now in honor of, you know, the Shuhada of Karbala, peace be upon all of them. What did she specifically do to honor the Shuhada, as it were, living in Medina? Was there something specific, as it were, that's, you know, the viewers really ought to know, as it were?
She was a renowned poet, and that's why I would love to hear more and more of our sisters who are writing qasidas, nawhas, marthiyas in honor of the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam.
Right.
Because that's what she did. And she'd recite the masa'ib of Ahlulbayt. She'd find it an honor to be of those who recites the masa'ib. And I think there are many sisters out there who are very, very, very able, very eloquent, very literate, well educated, write about Karbala.
Yes.
Do a journal article on Karbala, a book on Karbala, a poem on Karbala. And she would go to Jannat al-Baqi'.
Okay.
Put 5 different houses, or 5 graves, small graves. And you know, we all know she's buried in Baqi'.
Yes.
When you walk in Jannat al-Baqi', the 4 Imams of Ahlul Bayt on the right, and she's to the left. May Allah bless all the viewers
Inshallah,
that they visit Jannat al-Baqi' very soon.
Inshallah.
And what you have is that she would sit there and she'd remember Karbala. And it instituted for us that wherever you are in the world, organize majalis in your houses. Because al-Baneen, Sayyidah Zainab, the strength of their majalis is what ensured Karbala remained alive. To the extent there are narrations that say Marwan ibn al-Hakam was of those who would start crying when witnessing al-Baneen in Baqi'. And this person's heart is sadly made of stone and an Umayyad heart, and even he got affected by that.
Right, okay. Communities worldwide, okay. We sometimes, we have a sufra, as it were, for al-Baneen, Salam Alaikum. Some people, Asian communities, you know, naturally make, you know, curries. Some other communities may make bread, cheese, as it were. Other communities may actually distribute sweet dishes. Is this actually Islamic, as it were, you know, in terms of commemorating or remembering, you know, this great lady?
Think any food which is cooked and given to the poor and the needy, or brings love between the community, in honor of one of the Ahlul Bayt, is something meritorious.
Right.
We're not going to say there is an actual narration called Sufrat al-Baneen or Khubz al-Abbas or Lad or this Kheer, Halim, all of these things. I can't say there is an actual hadith for that.
Yes.
But doing a nadhr, mannat, in honor of such a lady, no doubt, if it brings us closer to her and helps to feed the poor and the orphans and the needy, why not?
Okay, so now we just literally have a moment or two, so I'll be very quick. We often hear about the power of Fatiha for al-Baneen, Salam Alaikum, and Amal. Is this discussed by ulama? So I'm being very quick now. And also, what lessons has affected you, Sayyidina, from her?
In terms of ulama always say that whenever you are in difficulty, I've met a couple of ulama who have said, when you're in difficulty, do 100 salawat on Muhammad and Al Muhammad and dedicate them to al-Baneen.
Okay.
Others have said, recite al-Fatiha for al-Baneen. Others mention a'mal for al-Baneen, where there is a particular 2 rak'ah prayer and salawats to be done, and you know the books will show you all the details. Ahlul Bayt loved al-Baneen so much that Shaheed al-Thani, may Allah bless his soul, he mentions how they would do ziyarah of al-Baneen on the day of Eid. You know, many people go to the maqbar or the qabristan, Ahlul Bayt would go.
Okay.
And like I said, if you ever are facing a difficult time in terms of your loyalty to the Ahlul Bayt, tests in maintaining your religiosity, tests in maintaining your devotion, tests in having lost those who you love.
Yes.
Just look at this lady's biography. 60 years, 4 AH till 64 AH, but 60 wonderful years.
Okay.
And it's a shame
that
there are millions of Muslims who do not know anything about her life.
Okay, very briefly, if you can just quickly wrap up the show, because unfortunately we've almost run out of time. Just what's affected you, from in life, and also, viewers, do please join us again on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the special show that I have mentioned. Sena, if you can just quickly wrap up the show very briefly in terms of what lessons you.
I'll leave the viewers. With one line. And that is, if Abbas is Bab al-Hawa'ij, then imagine if you ask Allah through Abbas's mother.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, and whenever you're in trouble, a Fatiha for al-Baneen and a Fatiha for Abu Talib, you should be okay.
Inshallah. Viewers, we've run out of time. Inshallah, see you again next time. Inshallah. Salam Alaikum.
All projects start with a concept, start with a vision.
We all have a destination to reach, but the journey isn't always easy.
Throughout life, there have been many trials and tribulations, many difficulties, setbacks, and unforeseen circumstances, but still we managed to push through them.
When we came to the West, there was no mosque, so we went around the community asking for people to donate to help establish a center.
When we came to the West, there were no scholars, so we sent our children to learn the Islamic sciences.
Imagine if we never took initiative. Imagine if what we have established was taken away.
Join us for our #I'm Hussaini live shows where we'll be discussing community, progression, and how to even finance these initiatives.
We tried our best to bring the heavenly atmosphere of Karbala to your houses, but nothing great was achieved without sacrifice.
Imam Hussain Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlulbayt, peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussain TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran, as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussain Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales, nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support, and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussain, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussain3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussain.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.
عشق اول و آخر من ای مهربان تر از مادر من یا واهب العطایا یا منتهى الرجایا یا دافع البلایا ارباب تشنه سر جدا خون بهایت خدا السلام علی ساکن کربلا یا حبیبی حسین.
The hadith al-sharif Ma'soom Imam al-Sajjad, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given my uncle Abbas a maqam such that on the day of judgment all the shuhada and the siddiqeen will wish they had the maqam of Abu-Fadhl. And the Imam did not leave an exception for anyone within the kawn. The exception that we know is Ahlulbayt through ahkam aqli.